How women get addicted to men, the hidden psychology. What if I told you that the way women form emotional attachments isn't just about feelings? It's about survival, mechanisms that have evolved over thousands of years. Today we're diving deep into the psychology behind female attachment patterns, the science of emotional bonding, and why understanding these patterns can transform your relationships forever. We're going to explore something most people never talk about openly: the intricate world of female emotional psychology. Before we begin, let me be clear, this isn't about generalizing or stereotyping. Every person is unique, but research in evolutionary psychology, neuroscience, and attachment theory reveals fascinating patterns about how emotional bonds form differently across genders. Today's discussion is based on peer-reviewed research from institutions like Harvard, Stanford, and the American Psychological Association. We'll explore the neurochemical basis of attachment, evolutionary perspectives on bonding, modern relationship patterns, practical applications for healthier connections. And stick around until the end. I'll share 3 specific strategies that can help anyone build stronger, more authentic relationships. Chapter 1: The Science of Attachment. Let's start with the foundation. What actually happens in the brain when we form attachments? The neurochemical orchestra. When women form emotional bonds, several key chemicals come into play. Oxytocin, the bonding hormone, often called the love hormone. Oxytocin is released during physical touch, emotional intimacy, and even meaningful conversations. Research by Dr. Paul Zak shows that women typically have higher baseline levels of oxytocin and more dramatic spikes during bonding activities. Dopamine, the reward system. This is where things get fascinating. Dopamine doesn't just make us feel good, it creates anticipation and craving. When someone we care about texts us, calls us, or shows affection, our dopamine system lights up like a Christmas tree. Serotonin and norepinephrine. These regulate mood and attention. In the early stages of attachment, serotonin actually decreases, which explains why people in new relationships often feel slightly obsessive or can't stop thinking about their partner. Story time: Sarah's experience. Let me tell you about Sarah, a 28-year-old marketing professional. She came to therapy because she kept finding herself in what she called addictive relationships. She'd meet someone, feel an intense connection, and then struggle to maintain her independence. Through our work together, we discovered that Sarah's attachment system was hypersensitive due to childhood experiences. Her brain had learned to equate intensity with safety, even when the relationship wasn't healthy. This brings us to a crucial point. Attachment patterns often develop in childhood and influence our adult relationships in ways we don't even realize. Chapter 2: Evolutionary Perspectives. Now let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Why might women's attachment systems work differently than men's? The evolutionary context. For millions of years, human survival depended on strong social bonds. But men and women faced different evolutionary pressures. Female evolutionary challenges. Pregnancy and child rearing required consistent support. Physical vulnerability during pregnancy meant needing protective relationships. Child survival depended on maintaining stable social networks. This doesn't mean women are naturally dependent. It means the female brain evolved sophisticated systems for reading social cues, building alliances, and maintaining crucial relationships. The tend and befriend response. You've probably heard of fight or flight, but psychologist Shelley Taylor discovered something fascinating. Women often exhibit a tend and befriend response to stress. Instead of fighting or running, they're more likely to seek social support, strengthen existing relationships, care for others as a way of managing their own stress. Modern implications. In today's world, these evolved tendencies can sometimes work against us. The same system that helped our ancestors survive can sometimes create over-attachment to unsuitable partners, difficulty maintaining boundaries, confusion between intensity and intimacy, fear of abandonment that drives controlling behaviors. Case study, the Instagram phenomenon. Think about social media for a moment. Women are statistically more likely to experience what researchers call social media attachment anxiety, the constant feedback loop, posting, waiting for likes, checking responses, triggers the same neural pathways as romantic attachment. Dr. Amy Muse's research at York University shows that women who frequently check their partner's social media activity show increased relationship anxiety and decreased satisfaction. The attachment system that once helped ensure survival is now being hijacked by technology. Chapter 3. The Attachment Spectrum. Not all attachment is created equal. Let's break down the spectrum from healthy bonding to problematic patterns. Secure attachment, the gold standard. Women with secure attachment typically feel comfortable with intimacy and independence, communicate needs directly, trust their partners while maintaining their own identity, can handle conflict without feeling threatened. Meet Jessica, a 34-year-old teacher with secure attachment. When her husband started working late more often, instead of catastrophizing or checking up on him constantly, she simply asked about it. They had an open conversation, addressed her concerns, and found a solution together. Anxious attachment, the double-edged sword. This is where we often see what people call addictive relationship patterns. Intense fear of abandonment, tendency to interpret neutral behaviors as rejection, difficulty self-soothing when apart from loved ones, emotional highs and lows based on partners' availability. The protest behaviors. When women with anxious attachment feel threatened, they often engage in what psychologists call protest behaviors. Excessive calling or texting, checking social media obsessively, creating drama to get attention, emotional outbursts or tears. These aren't manipulative tactics, they're genuine. Distress signals from an overactive attachment system. Avoidant attachment, the protective wall. On the opposite end, some women develop avoidant patterns. Discomfort with too much closeness. Tendency to suppress emotional needs. Difficulty trusting others completely. May appear independent but struggle with intimacy. Here's the beautiful thing. Attachment patterns aren't permanent. Neuroplasticity means our brains can form new pathways throughout our lives. Chapter 4. Modern Triggers and Social Media. Let's talk about how modern life amplifies these attachment patterns. The digital dilemma. Dating apps and social media have created an unprecedented situation. Our attachment systems, designed for small tribal communities, are now navigating a world of infinite options and constant comparison. The intermittent reinforcement trap. This is crucial to understand. Dating apps and inconsistent communication. Patterns create what behaviorists call intermittent reinforcement, the most addictive type of reward schedule. Think about it. Sometimes he texts back immediately, sometimes hours later. Some dates are amazing, others disappointing. Social media gives glimpses of his life, but not the full picture. This randomness triggers the same neural pathways as gambling addiction. The uncertainty doesn't reduce attraction, it intensifies it. The comparison trap. Social media exposes us to everyone else's highlight reels. Women with anxious attachment may constantly compare their relationships to what they see online, creating unnecessary dissatisfaction and insecurity. Story, the phantom vibration. Let me share something that might sound familiar. Maria, a client of mine, realized she was checking her phone over 200 times per day, often feeling phantom vibrations that weren't really there. Her entire emotional state was tied to when and how her boyfriend responded to messages. We worked on what I call digital boundaries, specific strategies for managing technology used in a way that supports rather than hijacks her attachment system. The ghosting phenomenon. Modern dating culture has normalized sudden disappearances, ghosting. For someone with anxious attachment, being ghosted doesn't just feel like rejection. It triggers genuine panic responses, similar to what a child feels when separated from a caregiver. Understanding this helps us respond with compassion rather than judgment when we see these intense reactions. Chapter 5. Practical Strategies for Healthier Patterns. Now for the part you've been waiting for, what can we actually do about this? Strategy 1. Awareness and mindfulness. The first step is recognizing your patterns without judgment. I recommend what I call the stop technique. Stop what you're doing. Take a breath. Observe your thoughts and feelings. Proceed with intention rather than reaction. Practice the 24-hour rule. Before sending that emotional text, making that phone call when you're upset, or checking their social media for the 5th time today, wait 24 hours. Often the urgent feeling will pass and you can respond from a calmer place. Strategy 2. Building self-soothing skills. This is about learning to regulate your own emotions instead of needing another person to do it for you. Physical techniques. Deep breathing exercises. Progressive muscle relaxation. Regular exercise to manage stress hormones. Consistent sleep schedule. Emotional techniques. Journaling to process feelings. Meditation or mindfulness practices. Creative outlets for expression. Building a support network beyond romantic relationships. Strategy 3. Secure base building. Create stability in other areas of your life. Develop friendships that provide emotional support. Pursue interests and hobbies independently. Build professional confidence and financial security. Practice self-compassion and positive self-talk. Real results. Emma's transformation. Emma came to me struggling with what she called relationship addiction. Through consistent work on these strategies, she learned to recognize her triggers before they overwhelmed her, communicate needs clearly without becoming demanding, maintain her sense of self within relationships, choose partners who were emotionally available and consistent. 6 months later, she met someone who matched her emotional availability, and they built a relationship based on mutual respect rather than anxious attachment. The power of earned security. Research shows that even people with insecure attachment styles can develop earned security through therapy or counseling, healthy relationship experiences, personal growth work, understanding their attachment history. Chapter 6. Building authentic connections. Let's talk about what healthy attachment actually looks like in practice. Quality over intensity. Many women with anxious attachment confuse intensity with intimacy. Real intimacy includes feeling safe to be vulnerable, maintaining individual identities within the relationship, resolving conflicts without fear of abandonment, supporting each other's growth and independence. The interdependence model. Healthy relationships aren't about losing yourself in another person or maintaining complete independence. They're about interdependence, choosing to share your life with someone, while remaining whole on your own. Communication strategies that work. One-I statements. Instead of, "You never call me," try, "I feel more connected when we talk regularly." 2. Specific requests. Rather than, "You don't care about me," say, "I'd love to spend Saturday morning together. What do you think?" 3. Emotional check-ins. Regular conversations about how you're both feeling in the relationship. The growth mindset. Approach relationships as opportunities for growth rather than tests of worthiness. When conflicts arise, ask, "What can we learn from this?" Instead of, "Does this mean they don't love me?" We've covered a lot of ground today. Let's recap the key insights. The 3 main takeaways. 1. Understanding is the first step. Your attachment patterns, developed for good reasons, but they don't have to control your relationships forever. 2. Awareness creates choice. When you recognize your triggers and patterns, you can respond instead of react. 3. Growth is always possible. Through consistent practice and sometimes professional support, anyone can develop more secure attachment patterns. Your next steps. 1. Reflect. Take some time this week to identify your attachment style and common triggers. 2. Practice. Choose one self-soothing technique to try when you feel anxious about a relationship. Connect. Consider talking to a trusted friend or therapist about your relationship patterns. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Which attachment style resonated most with you? What's one strategy you're going to try this week? Don't forget to subscribe for more psychology and relationship content. Hit the bell icon for notifications. Share this with someone who might benefit from understanding attachment theory. Coming up next week, we'll explore the psychology of attraction. What really creates lasting chemistry? You won't want to miss it. Remember, understanding your attachment patterns isn't about judging yourself. It's about empowering yourself to create the relationships you truly want. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.